Everyone. Answering another question here. Robert in England asks, why don't you take more pictures of the tea farmers and share their stories? Well, that's a good question. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I just have never really felt particularly comfortable going and taking pictures of people. And especially because I feel like pretty much every time I've asked people when I go out into the countryside and go to these tea growing areas and work with the people that I work with there. I think tea processing pictures is one thing, but I think when you're just kind of taking pictures of people and they're just, I ask people, do you want me to take your picture? And typically the answer is no. They don't really want to be a public figure. And I think part of it is Yunnan. People are very kind of people are pretty shy there and fairly humble. Um, when I went into the countryside in Yunnan, I noticed that people didn't, me being a foreigner, obviously, people didn't, stare at me or follow me around or point at me or do a lot in Yunnan, especially southern Yunnan. When I went to Sichuan, on the other hand, I was treated like a monkey. So, you know, and when I've traveled in China and gone to a lot of places, people are just really, I'll be sitting there eating food, and people come up to me and they'll want to get me over to their table to drink with them, or they'll want me to smoke a cigarette, or they want to talk about this and interrupt me while I'm eating, and so I've kind of seen both sides, and I feel like especially people in Yunnan are a little more humble and a little more kind of a little more. I think they like giving people their space, and I think that they like to have their space, and also being a foreigner in China, I didn't really like to be objectified, and I think that it feels weird to me to go into somebody that I know and that I work with and to make them a public figure online, especially because I'm involved in selling tea, and it just feels kind of to have to do that, and to even if I don't have a commercial motivation to do that, I just don't really feel comfortable doing that. Another thing that really affected kind of like my outlook on this is my wife is from Yunnan province, and she's from the countryside. She's not from a big city. She grew up as a farmer, fairly very humble circumstances. And when I went and visited her family and how they treated me like, even before they knew that I was, well, maybe they knew or maybe they didn't know that I was her boyfriend, but when they just thought I was a friend, and after, but they treated me with the utmost, respect, and I never felt like an outsider, and once for Chinese New Year, we brought a customer, kind of a friend and a customer, and they really, they brought their cameras and they just took pictures of everybody in the village and just kind of running around and taking pictures of Xia's family, and I could just tell that they were kind of uncomfortable with it because of the way that they were being kind of like framed. It just didn't feel natural. It felt like they were trying to get something, like, oh, this was special to be here, and I appreciate that they felt that way, but at the same time, it was very uncomfortable because it felt like they were trying to get something, and I think that there's this tendency too, when somebody's from another culture, to, whether it's out of just enthusiasm or conscious or subconscious, there's a tend to objectify people, us and them. And, I don't see my wife and I don't see her family as them. I see them as my family. And so, when I go to the tea mountains and I meet with people there, I kind of feel the same way, and I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable taking pictures of them, and making, and when I do, often I find that I don't want to put them online because it's just not, in my mind, it's just it's not really what they want to be a public figure and to be, hey, look at these farmers, and I would just really encourage people that want to experience tea mountains and tea growing, or just Yunnan culture in general, to just really make an attempt to make a trip and to go and maybe find a local translator in some of these areas, and get out and meet people, and if you feel you want to take a picture. But I think really this kind of, this insistence that pictures somehow prove something, I don't buy into that. Anybody can go and take pictures and, hold up a you know hold up a bamboo thing and flip leaves, or stick their hand in a wok and take a picture. I mean, I know people that I took out to the tea mountains who have never been to Yunnan, can't speak a word of Chinese, and they had these incredible photo ops, and they put them all over their websites, and they, good for them. But that's just not that's, to me, that seems strange. And having a picture of something doesn't really prove that you're involved in the industry. Yeah, you've made a trip there. Good for you. So, maybe I'll offend a couple of people by saying that, but I really think it's about the tea. And yeah, it's about the people. You can't disconnect the people from the tea. And I would encourage people to go there and actually really experience the culture there, and then decide how you feel about it. Because I think with pictures and with, things on a website and a commercial website, there's always going to be a bent, there's always going to be a motive to put those there. And I would just prefer to not have that as an element in the way that we sell tea. I really want people to drink the tea and to judge the quality of the tea. And I'm not trying to divorce the human element from it at all, but I really think that to experience the human element of Yunnan culture and tea culture, you should do it firsthand, and until such time, do it through the tea, and go online and look at pictures of Yunnan, and I'll try to take my camera more out and take pictures of tea processing and things like that. I haven't been very good at taking pictures of things, mostly because it's just not my focus. My focus is on making relationships with people and drinking tea, and getting good tea. And as soon as I start taking my camera out, I just feel like this dumb white guy with a camera. So anyways, hope that's an explanation. And I really encourage people to make a trip to Yunnan and experience it for yourself. You will have an incredible time. It's a beautiful place and beautiful people, and best tea in the world. Thanks.